Welcome to Mom's Life Made Simple, the podcast for moms who want to go from chaos to calm, from overwhelmed to organized, and to find balance between family responsibilities and personal growth. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Let's make mom life simple. Hello and welcome to the Mom's Life Made Simple podcast. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Today, we are continuing our Simplify series by talking about how to simplify your marriage relationship. So, we are going to talk about one simple thing that will help you find more happiness and joy and peace and make the marriage relationship a little bit easier. So, are you ready for it? Don't guess. Ask. That is the simple tip for today. Ask your husband questions. I'm going to go through a list of 8 different types of questions. But before I do, I want to talk a little bit about why. Why ask questions? Why is this going to simplify your marriage? Well, so much of what happens when we disagree with our spouse or when, miscommunications come up because we're assuming things, because we don't take the time to ask. When you ask, you clear out so much of that confusion and you can really get to the heart of what matters to your spouse by asking the right questions. I believe that most of us want to have a good marriage. We didn't get married because we wanted it to be a rough relationship, right? We got married because we love this person. We want to spend the rest of our life with them. And when we ask questions, it's a way to, first of all, show them that we care about the answers, but also those answers are going to direct us and give us clues of how we can do better, how we can grow closer, what our spouse actually cares about. And it will give you a closeness that you wouldn't have otherwise. So, question number 1, would you rather? When my husband and I were fairly newly married, we'd been married for a couple years at this point. He was working a 9 to 5. He was gone during the day and I was at home with young kids. And I remember, like many of you, that really hard hour, right? When you're trying to get dinner on the table, all the kids are crying and things are just falling apart. And it was a stressful time of my day. And I was trying to do all the things. I was trying to look good so that when my husband came home after not seeing each other all day, that I would look good. I was trying to have the house clean because I wanted him to come into a nice clean house. And I was trying to have dinner made and it was too much. And I felt like I was failing because I couldn't do it all. And so finally I said to him, hey, would you rather have me look good when you come home? Would you rather have the house clean or would you rather have dinner on the table? Pick one. Basically, I think I can get one of those done. And he chose dinner. Occasionally, I still check in with him. He works from home, but dinner still matters the most to him. He wants dinner on the table every night. I am happy to do that for him. But what that would you rather question did is it took away those expectations that I was putting on myself to have all of those things done. And it let me know that if I couldn't get them all done, here's what actually mattered to my husband. So, number 1 is would you rather? You can probably see other applications of that question. And it also opens up a conversation, right? Because, like in that situation, for me, it was me acknowledging both to him and to myself, like this time with little kids in our lives, it's a lot to try to do all those things. And here's what I'm actually capable of. So I wanted his input to see what mattered the most because I wanted to do those things for him, right? But would you rather is number 1. Number 2, go to your spouse. This is one best asked in a quiet moment. When you're just talking and when you have time, when he has time to really ponder it. But the question is, how can I be a better wife? Let your husband sit with that and let him answer. So here is one thing that I anticipate. If you've never asked this question before, I anticipate that most husbands would be a little afraid to answer that question. How can I be a better wife? Oh, honey, you're doing great. You're fine. You're just right. There might be a little fear there to be honest and open and vulnerable and answer that question. If that's the case, then Give him some time to think about it and ask again, or let him know, okay, well, I really do want to be a better wife. So I'm going to ask you again tomorrow or next week or whenever. You can also use this one regularly. James and I ask this to each other, how can I be a better wife? Or he'll say, how can I be a better husband? Often enough that I know it's sincere. And because it's sincere, if there is something that I want to tell him, I feel like I can. And so this might be a more advanced level question. This is a 2.0 one, because if you're in a position, a situation in your marriage where the lines of communication aren't really open, it might be hard to get a good answer to this question. But try it out, see how it goes, and practice with this one and give your spouse an opportunity to let you know how you can do better. Um, Okay, number 3, what do you want? Simple question, right? What do you want? But often we try to make guesses. And let me give some examples. What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for dinner? What do you want to do this weekend? Asking questions, and instead of just deciding and then getting frustrated when our husbands don't like what we chose, it can be a lot better to just have the conversation. Now, maybe what do you want for Christmas is met with, I don't know. And then you're the gift giver, you get to decide what to give. But opening that communication and opening that channel with a question can still be really helpful in your marriage to take some of the guesswork out. Uh, Along those lines, so this next one is question number 4. How much do you want this on a scale of 1 to 10? So, have you ever had this conversation? You say to your husband, do you want Mexican food for dinner? And he's like, yeah, okay. And then you go to Mexican food and you actually didn't want Mexican food. And he only said yes because he thought you wanted Mexican food. And you're both sitting here eating Mexican food that you didn't even want. Um, James and I have had this happen before, or similar things. And the way that we have decided to communicate about this is to say, okay, we've got, whatever event or whatever dinner. How much do you want this on a scale of 1 to 10? How much do you want to go to this party tonight on a scale of 1 to 10? If he is a 3 and I'm a 3 and we both just were going because we thought the other person wanted to go, then that kind of changes the decision. And same with dinner, it applies to a lot of things. But what it does is really gives you a gauge and helps you a little bit more in the decision-making process in your marriage rather than just, yeah, okay, right? Sometimes we don't know exactly what our spouse wants. So number 3 is what do you want? And number 4 is how much do you want this on a scale of 1 to 10? We've found that to be really helpful for decision making. All right, number 5. Okay. Number 5 is a question that we use when you're kind of not understanding your spouse, when maybe you guys are having a disagreement or you're coming at whatever it is, whether it's something with the kids or something they want to buy or something that you guys are just not on the same page about. The question is, can you help me understand why this matters to you? Now, my natural tendency would be to say, why does that matter to you? We want to avoid, especially when things are a little bit tense or a little bit heated, we want to avoid, why does that matter to you? Because it puts people on the defensive. Why do you want that? Why do you want to spend money on that? Why do you think that's a good idea? You can hear it, right? It puts you on the defensive because all of a sudden you have to explain yourself. And so you're defending your position. When you kind of shift that a little, and the way that I've phrased it, there are probably other ways that you can phrase it, is, can you help me understand why this matters to you? You're still asking the same question. You still want to know why this matters to your spouse, but what it's doing differently is saying, can you help me understand? It's showing that you care to understand. And that's a big deal. When you phrase it with why, it's almost like, I demand for you to change my mind. Prove it. Show me. It's a little bit different energy. So, can you help me understand why this matters to you? And I think that why this is so powerful is that shift of what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for you to prove that you're right. I'm looking to have my heart changed and softened. I'm looking to understand you, even if it means that we still disagree, but I want a deeper understanding. So that is number 5. Can you help me understand? Number 6, will you? For anyone who I was a missionary, and for anyone who served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, like I did, this is a familiar question. When we were working with people who were studying about the church, this was something that we were taught to ask, and we were taught to do this to get commitments from people. It's very easy, and I think this is especially true as women, to ask a wishy-washy question. Oh, I'd really just love if you took out the trash. Or, oh, could you do the dishes, right? It's a little less powerful when we call it out and we actually ask in a powerful way, which is, will you take out the trash? Thanks for listening to Mom's Life Made Simple. Need some help making your mom life simple? I offer group coaching programs using my 4-step method called the Mom's Method. This is a process of manifestation, organization, mobilization, and simplification that will give you the balance, progress, and joy you're looking for. Visit ChanelNielsen.com or find me on Instagram or Facebook at Chanel Nielsen Coaching. I love to hear from you. Reach out with your questions, your feedback, and let me know how I can help make your mom life simple.